It is said space is the last frontier. India is investing heavily in space, and so is Europe. And I have with me Josef Aschbacher. He's the Director General of the European Space Agency. They have a budget several times that of the Indian Space Research Organization. But ESA and ISRO have a history of collaboration and going forward. Thanks a lot for speaking to me, sir.
Thank you.
And welcome to India once again. ESA and ISRO are cooperating on human spaceflight, and India has an astronaut likely to go to the International Space Station. What is the collaboration?
With India, we have an excellent collaboration, but since many, many years. The very first agreement, which was signed between the European Space Agency and the Indian Space Research Organization, dates back to 1978. So many, many years of very, very good cooperation on different domains. Actually, it started even earlier, but this is the first time a formal agreement was signed. It actually goes back to 1971 on the predecessor of ESA. There were two organizations called ISRO and ELDO who were the original organizations, and then they were merged and ESA came out of this. So already with one of the two, an agreement was signed with India in the early 70s. So yes, we work with India since many decades. It's always a pleasure to work with India, and we cover domains like Earth observation, ground station support. We have a ground station network where we support also the Indian missions, Chandrayaan.
I know Chandrayaan, you helped India
exactly
get the communication going.
Actually, we saw the data of Chandrayaan first.
Yes.
First, we then transmitted them to India.
Before Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to know that we have softly safe landed near the South Pole.
Exactly.
You came to know.
We knew, exactly. So this is really showing that we work well together, and we really rely on each other. And now today we have signed an agreement on exploration. That means what do we do together on low Earth orbit stations? India is building up the BAS
Bharatiya Antariksh Station.
Exactly, and this is very exciting. I'm very impressed on the strategy you have and the very clear milestones along the way. And we would like to really see how we can utilize some of our experience and your experience and work together. One element we certainly can offer, which I think is of interest to India, is what we call a cargo return service, where we have a cargo vehicle that we're developing now that brings cargo up to the space station and then again cargo back with re-entry capability. And in the future, I hope this could be the Indian space station that we are serving with this cargo return service as well. So it's really open. Maybe a European ESA astronaut might fly together with an Indian astronaut to that space station and do experiments together. This is a bit the vision which we have.
We don't have to wait that long. In a few weeks, we have an ESA astronaut and an Indian astronaut going on an Axiom 4 mission. So we don't have to wait years.
Absolutely right. But I'm talking of capability that India and Europe develop together. But you're right. We have the data, I think, is still to be confirmed, but end of May, early June, we have a mission together, Axiom 4, with an Indian Shu, the Indian astronaut, with an ESA astronaut, Sławosz Uznański, and they will be part of a 4-crew team going to the space station. And then we have joint experiments together.
Yes.
Which India.
Are you excited about that?
Oh, very excited, because there we have, it's a huge number of experiments for a relatively short mission of 2 weeks. But I think these astronauts will be quite busy doing work and not having. They will have fun for sure, but they.
You don't give them time to look out of the window.
They do, but they really will do a lot of work. It's actually the mission with the highest amount of science done in such an Axiom mission that we're doing, and it's quite impressive what they will be doing. So they will be super busy, but of course every astronaut, the highlight of every astronaut is to go to the cupola, look down to Earth and see the continents moving by, the countries moving by, and this is certainly a highlight for everyone.
Have you ever thought of doing that yourself?
This would be nice. I'm not. I'm getting a bit older now, and certainly not something that is on my screen. But no, this must be really fascinating. Actually, every time one of my astronauts comes back from the space station, I always ask them, what was impressing you most, and what is the most memorable thing of your stay up there? And all of them say, looking out of the cupola, seeing our planet Earth down there, how beautiful it is, but also how fragile it is. How fragile in terms of climate change, the atmosphere is a very thin layer, very thin. We think it goes forever, but it's a very thin layer if you look at it from the space station. And we have to really take care of our planet because that is the only place, at least for many, many years to come, where we can live. So yes, the beauty of our planet, but also the fragility is something that everyone notices. And actually they say, I wish that all the people on this planet could once at least go to a space station and see our planet from a distance, because then they would behave slightly differently.
Well, when India starts doing the missions could be much cheaper. Axiom is charging almost $67 million. So when India starts doing, they could be much cheaper. It could be easier for many people to go.
I would hope so. I mean, this is certainly something, the cost or the price is not disclosed because they negotiate it country by country very differently. But yes, I hope. But it's not about paying or transferring money. It's really what we would like to offer is capability that we develop in exchange, say for astronaut flights or stays on the space station or whatever these activities are. So yes, there is. We have a great space industry and great space capacity in Europe. India has also an enormously ambitious, great space capacity there, and there's so much we can do together. We are not utilizing this yet, and this agreement of today, signed with the chairman of ISRO, is really a milestone. I said before, the signature ceremony, it's a historic moment where we now open a completely new chapter, and this is something that we have not done in the past, at least at this intensity, and I really look forward to the next steps to come.
Did you feel bad when Ariane 5 was retired and Ariane 6 didn't come up, and all the business was taken away by SpaceX, Falcon 9?
I was very sad because of course, we know Ariane 5 very well. Ariane 5 is a very performant rocket, or was a very performant rocket, was delivering very important payloads also for India.
Yes, we launched so many
geostationary satellites. Yes. Ariane 5 was made for that.
Yes.
So it was a bit of a sad moment, knowing that this was in July 23 when the last Ariane 5 was launching, and we knew that Ariane 6 is not yet ready because this was, of course, the focus I had as DG at that time. And yes, we had 1 year without our own rocket, and this was a very uncomfortable situation. I called it a launcher crisis, just to make people aware how important it is to have access to space. And we have been putting a lot of pressure on getting Ariane 6 onto the launch pad as quick as possible. And
you have it back now.
And we have it back now. And I really have to say, and I'm very proud of that, because Ariane 6 is a very good rocket. The fact that it has performed at the very first flight without failures or without problems is quite unusual. I shouldn't say that, but I did a probability estimate of the last 23 years. There were about a bit more than 40 launches of new rockets, and there's a probability of 47 to 53% that the first flight of a new rocket fails. 47% failure rate, 53% success rate.
Now, India has had that, because 2 of our rockets have only succeeded on the first flight.
Exactly.
All the others have had failures on first
exactly,
flight.
And,
but you learn more during failure.
Including our Ariane 5 also failed the first flights, actually, more than one. So there, you have to manage expectations. So the chances of succeeding with a heavy lift rocket for the first time was a bit about 1 to 1. The fact that it succeeded, have to say, also shows that our engineers, our rocket engineers are good people.
So will you be competitive with SpaceX on Ariane 6?
It's the same class. It's the same
class,
the
but
same
the cost
class,
is...
But
Mr. Elon Musk knows how to reduce costs.
No, but be a bit careful in it's the price that is charged, it's not the cost. Or the cost, of course, we do not know. But if there's an offer made by SpaceX to an international partner like Europe, I think it's the same in India, of course the price is very low to acquire the market. When the same rocket is offered domestically, the price is much higher. So I think you have to really see this in context, and I think this is a bit the situation we have. So, but let me put it the other way around. Ariane 6, together with Vega C, which is the middle-class launcher, has been made to launch the satellites we need to launch. So now we have the capacity, now we have guaranteed access to space, we have the rockets, plural, that launch those satellites that are there. Actually, we have extra capacity to launch commercial payloads. Kuiper from Amazon was signing up to 18 launches for Ariane 6. That's about half of the next 3 years launches we have foreseen, which is nice because we have, but extra capacity we can sell on the market. So yes, Ariane 6 now will, together with Vega C and a few new micro launches that are coming very soon, will now launch what we need to launch. Of course, one would always like more, and one would like to have extra capacity, but for the purpose of Europe, it's fine. Of course, we also want to develop and acquire new market share with new types of launchers, and that's why we now invest what we call the European Launcher Challenge, where micro launches are being supported, and we want, they have yet to fly because they have not yet flown, but we have a bit, about half a dozen of I would say, launches that are ready to fly or coming soon.
We've had two from India. Are you looking at them? Two startups have done launches, suborbital ones. Are you looking at them as partners?
Not yet, but I think we should because they are in the same classes. And this is something
500
we should...
kg and less.
Exactly, 500 to 500, 1 ton, I would say maximum, to low Earth orbit. So yes, this is the class of launches that are coming. And they will occupy a new market segment, smaller satellites. But also, and this is what I want to achieve, is that they grow and they become medium-sized launchers and then obviously heavy launcher after some time. Of course, this takes time, but we certainly want to really move in this direction very, very boldly, and we are putting now the proposals together for our member states to sign up to. But this is something that we really want to develop as well.
Do you think it's a good idea that humanity populates the moon and Mars in perpetuity?
Oh, yes. This is exploration. I mean, human beings like you, me, and everyone.
I'm too heavy.
Everyone on this planet, you're curious. You want to discover new things. You want to go to the extreme. You want to test your abilities. And this is what the exploration is about, to be curious, to test new technologies, new conditions, new living environments. And yes, this is exploration. And yes, that's why humans will go to the moon and will establish an infrastructure, will live there, at the beginning short, but eventually a bit longer. They will go to Mars eventually. It's not so easy, but they will go there.
So you think it's a certainty?
It will come. It will happen. The question is when, but it will happen. Yes, of course, this is. But put yourself hundreds of years back in time. Put yourself to the discovery of new continents on this planet Earth, because humans are going out. They want to discover new things. They want to, they're curious. They want to test their new ships, whether the ship is crossing the ocean safely or crashing. We are in this same situation. We are testing new rockets. You're going to new environments, new continents. Sometimes we call the moon our eighth continent, which will develop an economy and a habitable system. So yes, this will happen. Huh?
India and ESA recently had a mission where an ESA satellite, a very, very important satellite, was launched using the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. Did you get a good launch from India?
We got a fantastic launch. I would like to really thank India. Actually, I would have loved to be here, but on the very same day, we had a launch from French Guiana in Kourou. We launched with Vega C, a Sentinel-1 C satellite. And that very same day, from here from India, on PSLV, the mission is called Proba 3. The Proba mission is actually quite an interesting mission. It was one satellite, it was two satellites launched together. And they have been attached, or they have been launched together. They have been separated in orbit. And the purpose of these two satellites is to study the corona of the sun. That means one satellite, it's a very highly elliptical orbit. One satellite will shade the sun, and but in a way that you really cover the circle, the corona of the sun, and you can study the corona because the satellite is covering it. So that means you are in the shade of the first satellite.
I explained to my audience that ESA is creating an artificial solar eclipse in the sun.
That's exactly what we're doing. But wait, this is not the end of it. So first of all, we would like to study obviously the corona of the sun. But what is challenging from a technology point of view is to fly these two satellites at very close distance. We call it formation flying, that they are close enough that this works with one blocking the sun, the other one observing. But you can imagine what this means in managing the satellite orbits,
and in an elliptical orbit.
In an elliptical orbit, exactly. Yeah? So this is not an easy, thing to do. But yes, that's what we do as space people. We do the things that have not been done before, and this is one of them.
How is it performing?
But very good. But let me just say a big thank you to India for having launched the satellite safely. Very performant launcher. PSLV is really a fantastic launcher you have. Thank you, India. Thank you, India, for doing that, and it's performing well. We have separated the satellites. The first Eclipse is done in a few weeks, so we do not yet have the first images, but it should come out very soon.
And you got a precise launch. You got a great orbit, I was told.
And a very precise launch, yeah. That shows the quality of the engineering in India.
True. Going forward, do India and ESA have a plan, like you said, on exploration, and you have a plan for 2040, which you have played a personal role in, and India has a plan for space exploration going up to 2047, and 2040 India wants to land an Indian on the moon. You heard the minister and the prime minister say that. In these two parallel plans, where can we have collaboration?
I think this is up to the fantasy of our teams in India and in Europe to really establish that. The agreement which we signed, or this statement of intent which we signed today, actually is a very open one and really allows for a variety of cooperations in exploration. I would say a typical one is that we collaborate with Europe BAS space station, that we find we can outfit the station with some of our experience and equipments which we have. We can build equipment together, or we could place even equipment in your station. All this needs to be defined. We could even fly, you could even fly some of our astronauts into your station. This would be, of course, the ultimate, or the crowning of
could it be a joint space station between Bharat Antariksh Station BAS and an EAS, a joint station?
Well, this is not yet studied, if I may say so, because you have your bus architecture. I have not been aware that there are joint architecture studies, but I mean, we are at the beginning of this process, and I think the working groups that are now starting to work, actually my team has already today had a meeting to really go a bit deeper into it. They will now, in the next few weeks and months, elaborate of what this could be in practice. And yes, on my side, I'm very committed to make it work, would say, for the benefit of both, because good cooperation is always a cooperation where both are benefiting and have a clear interest. And yes, there's a lot of opportunities we could explore.
You know, plenty happening in Europe, plenty happening in Asia, and India having invested in space, there is a possibility of great cooperation.
there's a huge possibility of
And the space
cooperation.
station is to be retired.
Exactly, and voila, that's exactly the context in which we are currently living. Of course, there are commercial space stations coming up. We will certainly work with those. Even the Indian station would not be available for some years. So certainly the commercial space stations are the solution right after the retirement of the ISS. But medium to long term, I'm really open to explore cooperation opportunities, and we have to sit down and study them, cost them, see what does it mean for each partner and so on. But I'm open to really explore different options, and I'm sure your colleagues in India just as well.
As the head of the European Space Agency, if there is a short, crisp message you have to give to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is a very avid space technology person, what would that be? You can look straight and tell him.
The message to the Prime Minister, first of all, would be that I'm really grateful for the excellent cooperation we have between India and the European Space Agency. It's really very impressive. I'm also very impressed about the performance of India to become a super space power. You already are, but your path into the future is very impressive. And yes, on Europe, we are a space power as well. We have a lot of excellence in terms of technology, from satellites to rockets, and India already is benefiting. I'm very open, very happy to explore future opportunities. I think our partnership is based on the same values, and this is always important for good partnerships for the future. And yes, this is something we should explore together.
Thanks a lot for speaking to me.
Thank you so much.
What a pleasure.
Great pleasure.
And I wish Europe and India cooperate a lot, and may India give you precise launches like it did for the Proba mission. That shows the extent of cooperation we can have and how it can benefit both.
And may this be the beginning of something very big.
Lovely.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So that was the Director General of the European Space Agency giving us an overview of the European space activities, and more importantly, how India and Europe can cooperate together. Remember, India has a human spaceflight program with a roadmap going to 2040 to land an Indian on the moon. And ESA has a plan also in that same time frame. Now both have to explore and find ways to cooperate. India's low-cost, frugal technology development and Europe's quality engineering, can they be married together for exploration of the universe? Like Prime Minister Narendra Modi says, reaching for the stars together. In New Delhi, Pallav Bagla for NDTV.